Hi everyone, welcome to Elisa's Real Estate Notes Home Buyers segment. Today I'm going to give you some tips on what to do before securing your mortgage. With foreclosures up 56% from last year, there are some traps that new home buyers definitely want to avoid. The most important thing is to be realistic about what you can actually afford. A lot of people do this by going online and using online mortgage calculators. Now, these calculators are a great starting off point, but they are in no way a panacea. A lot of them don't include your property taxes and your home insurance. Now, these are two things that you have to include because they're definitely going to increase the price of your monthly mortgage payment. A lot of these calculators also don't include your private mortgage insurance, and this is something you definitely want to have if you put less than 20% down. Now, some of these calculators do include your property taxes and your home insurance, but they use an average amount. So they'll use something like $3,500 for your property taxes and $868 for your home insurance. Now, depending on where you live and what you're buying, these numbers may not come anywhere near what you need to give you an accurate view of what your monthly mortgage payments are going to be. So these mortgage calculators are a really good starting off point. They give you a great ballpark figure, but you have to realize what their limitations are. Okay, so now let's talk about pre-qualification and pre-approval letters. How useful are these letters? A pre-qualification letter is simply a document from a mortgage lender that states that you are a qualified buyer and it estimates what you can afford. Often to get a pre-qualification letter, the potential buyer only needs to provide basic financial information such as income, assets, and credit. Now, this information is usually not verified, so that is something that is completely different from what's going to happen when you go to get that actual loan. The obvious downside here is that you may walk away with an inaccurate picture of what you're actually able to afford. Now, pre-approval letters differ from pre-qualification letters because they require a more thorough evaluation. They include a complete credit check and specific financial documentation. A legitimate pre-approval letter will state that it's not a binding document, it'll state that the loan is subject to appraisal of the actual property, and it will state that the interest rate that is quoted may vary. Now, although a pre-approval letter will go a step further in giving you an idea of what you're actually able to afford, there are no hard and fast guarantees here. So the obvious question is that can these letters actually hurt potential home buyers? Absolutely. There have been many cases of unscrupulous lenders using this type of document to give home buyers an inaccurate view of what they're actually able to afford. This is on the rise. There's a study done by a communications firm in Washington, D.C. that showed that almost 40% of pre-qualified letters given by internet-based lenders and 30% of pre-qualified letters given by mortgage brokers were inaccurate or invalid. The bottom line here is that if you get a pre-qualification letter that paints a rosier picture than what you were expecting, be wary. Now, the more complete pre-approval process can be helpful in providing you with a better sense of the amount of mortgage you can afford, but it is very important for you to crunch your own numbers. So today's takeaways are, if you're using an online mortgage calculator, make sure you're aware of what it includes. Make sure that you account for your annual property tax. Make sure you include for your homeowner's insurance. And make sure you include for a private mortgage insurance if you put less than 20% down. Also, choose a pre-approval letter over a pre-qualification letter. It will be more accurate. Now, no matter what you do, you want to make sure that you crunch your own numbers, and you have to be realistic. All right, so thank you for joining me on Elisa's Real Estate Notes, and I'll see you next time in our Home Buyer segment.